Welcome to Fox 54's Black History Month special. I'm Kenesha Dees.
And I'm Mo Carter. Tonight we'll take you on a journey to places where Black history is often overlooked.
We'll also introduce you to the brave individuals who are breaking barriers here in the Yellowhammer State.
Plus, we'll present stories of empowerment and service, showing you why there's work that's still left to be done in the year 2026.
And we begin with a story of loss, survival, and recovery. You may have seen her face, but don't know her name. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo takes us all the way back to the 16th Street Baptist Church and introduces us to Sarah Collins Rudolph, the fifth little girl from the Birmingham church bombing.
I have a dream.
The year was 1963. Just a couple months earlier, thousands of children left school and took to Birmingham's streets to protest racial segregation in the Children's Crusade. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had given his I Have a Dream speech in the famous March on Washington just weeks prior. Police and fire crews were beating and arresting black demonstrators across the city using high-pressure fire hoses, German shepherds, and tanks. And then, on September 15th, in a flash of smoke and rubble, the city, the movement, and the nation were changed forever.
There's a lot of people that was hurt, and some was killed just to have the freedom that we have.
Sarah Collins Rudolph is the fifth little girl that narrowly survived the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing that killed her sister and three other girls. This window into the ladies' restroom is where it all happened that fateful morning in 1963. Rudolph asked her sister, Addie Mae Collins, to tie her sash as they got ready for the children-led Youth Day services. She said one second they were laughing and playing, and the next, up to 25 sticks of dynamite went off at this spot right where I'm sitting now.
You could imagine that there was bedlam and pandemonium in the streets.
The blast took out windows for blocks surrounding the church. The only one left standing inside was a stained glass window of Jesus knocking on the door, a door which many have interpreted as the heart of a nation.
But the preachers, they called for calm. They turned their anger into activism, their activism into action, and they wouldn't rest until the 64 Civil Rights Act was passed, and then the 65 Voting Rights Act was passed. So their death was indeed a tragedy, which led to a triumph.
But for 12-year-old Rudolph, that moment wasn't a triumph at all.
I was just really fearful. Had a lot of fear just going back into the 16th Street Baptist Church. I remember my mother, she took us into the church after they rebuilt it in 1964. And I just couldn't sit in the church anymore.
It was a hole in her heart and in the community that she tried to avoid for years. But in a church service decades later, she learned to forgive the four bombers after being healed by God.
I had a work to do, and I know God spared my life to do just what I'm doing right now.
She's carried her story to the corners of the nation to share her journey to healing and forgiveness.
She talks to groups from all over the country to share her story, to tell how the Lord preserved her and how she survived that tragedy that her sister didn't. So she's been left here as a witness and a testimony of what the Lord is able to do.
And it's that testimony that carries on even 62 years later. In Birmingham, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
That old district of downtown Birmingham is now a National Historic Landmark.
Yes, you can also check out a museum in the basement of the 16th Street Baptist Church right in the heart of the Civil Rights District.
Joe Wheeler Park in Lauderdale County is one of the most popular state parks in the entire Tennessee Valley. But did you know that the park is entrenched with African-American history? I traveled to Rogersville to learn more. Every month, you can find local families getting physically fit while learning about historical facts right here in the Tennessee Valley. The group, which is known as Black Kids Adventures, has a solid following and is spearheaded by the Stevens family.
My family and I, just noticed that there was a need for an organization that would create opportunities for other Black families to come out and find joy in community and in nature.
During Black History Month, members of Black Kids Adventures traveled out to Rogersville for a hiking trail through Joe Wheeler Park, a place with tons of hidden history when it comes to African Americans. Our first stop on the trail bringing us to a random piece of land in the park. Sure, it doesn't look like much now, but 70 plus years ago, it was quite important for African Americans in this state who wanted to enjoy life on the outdoors.
In the 1950s, that area was referred to as the Negro Recreation Area. And the whole point was to give a safe space for Negro families to enjoy themselves in the great outdoors.
Consider this. The small portion of Joe Wheeler Park that you see here was the only area in all of Alabama state parks in which African Americans could gather and have any sort of recreational fun.
The outdoors, the joy, the community that it brings, it has always been a part of who we are as a people, part of our culture.
Next on the journey, we were reminded about a pair of African American men who held very high rankings.
Joe Wheeler State Park is the space where the very first African American park ranger, Mr. Howard Fuquay, from 1952 to 1956, and he was followed by the second African American park ranger in the state of Alabama, Mr. Samuel Hardin. And we're so excited that today we got to walk on a trail fondly named after Mr. Samuel Hardin.
Our final part of the trail takes us to the beautiful banks where the creek meets the lake. Once upon a time, organizations like the Boy Scouts were even segregated in the South. So the area, which is now known as Camp Drake Reservation, served and hosted Black Boy Scouts of the Tennessee Valley Council who could not join the all-white Camp Westmoreland.
Beginning in the 1940s, Negro communities from around would have Boy Scout camps right on these grounds. And it's just remarkable that we can share and educate today's families about the great rich history that was here.
And so ends our journey to Joe Wheeler Park, a place that is entrenched with African American history. There are more places like this around the Tennessee Valley, and the folks at Black Kids Adventures intend to do a deep dive into those for one specific reason.
It's important for stories like this to be told and carried on so that they can live. When we don't share these stories, the history dies.
For more information about African American involvement with state parks in the South, you can check out the book, A Landscape of Exclusion by William O'Brien.
Wow, Mo, that's extraordinary. Well, this local artist got his start, just like many others, in the classroom. For years, Johnny Moore has taken his craft to new levels, showcasing ancestry and alchemy in new and exciting ways. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman spoke with him about how his art reflects his identity and history.
Step inside Johnny Moore's studio, where you'll find him working on his latest piece.
I think I've always been an artist. In the younger years, I spent a lot of time in nature, school library, and things like that, and I always loved to draw.
While Johnny may have gotten his start in the Rocket City, his work has been featured across the United States and beyond.
I moved to Pennsylvania, did artwork up there, got a chance to work with the groups like Groundswell out of Brooklyn, New York, Maps out of Philadelphia, muralists like Josh Tarrant-Titus, and Chicago. I was the ambassador of art to South America twice, 2014, 2012.
He says his creations are his way of sharing a story.
Being from the South, I'm probably a natural storyteller. And for me, art is a way of telling a story without the words, although I write as well. But art is a way of telling stories because it's whether you speak the language or not, it's universal. You don't have to speak a particular language to understand art because I think it's soul speak.
And those stories are told in red clay and gold mapping collections.
Red clay, it's the stuff of my childhood. I grew up, it stained our clothes, it stained our shoes. We made mud piles with it, we made balls with it, and we threw them at each other. It was always there, always the background. When you think about it, the essence of the clay, 102 minerals in the earth, the 102 minerals in our body, what makes it red is the iron oxide, our blood, the red in our blood. It literally is like painting with a living substance. Because truly, if you think about this, especially the southern ground, it's probably soaked with the blood of our ancestors.
And growing up in the South, Johnny's art connects with those who came before him and others who were on their own path.
I was doing a lot of searching for my ancestry, and I kept running into the enslavers. And I thought how unfair, that I had to end up there rather than I can't go back any further because everything like before that was pretty much wiped out in terms of the individual family line. But this is what came to me when I thought about the idea of Afrofuturism. I can't change my past, what came before me, but I do have the ability to choose my future. And so whatever was there leading up to where I'm going is one single line. Our lives are. But that line meanders and goes and changes in different directions. And that's what creates the essence of who we are.
Johnny's story is still being drafted, one brushstroke at a time.
You'll never live to your fullest potential unless you're doing that thing that's in you to do. And my thing is, if I stoke my fire hot enough, it'll warm others and inspire them to do the same.
Now, Johnny has also spent time teaching at all levels, from kindergarten all the way up to college.
His message to students and artists who reach out to him: speak from your truth and tell your story.
Coming up, we meet a dynamic duo looking to shape Madison County and beyond. From the top down, we get a peek into a day in the lives of Madison County Commissioner Violet Edwards and attorney Raven Beach.
And later in the show, we sit down with reality TV show star Melody Shari from Love and Marriage Huntsville. Tonight, we learn more about a small town girl living out one of her biggest dreams. Two women blazing a trail in the Tennessee Valley. One works as a family attorney. The other serves as a county commissioner. They're sisters, already a force in their respective fields, and this year expected to be a dynamic one for them. Their next moves could be Montgomery and the Madison County Courthouse. Two sisters
I meet with clients. I'm sometimes in court.
on two different paths.
Well, I oversee the Harrison Center here, the People's Patch Community Forum. I have a district office, and I oversee the farmers market.
Meet Madison County Commissioner for District 6, Violet Edwards,
Everything that I've done in life has prepared me for where I am today.
and Managing Attorney Raven Beach of Beach Law Practice.
Sometimes I feel like my own little superhero.
The sisters were born and raised in Walker County, Alabama, eventually finding their way north to Madison County.
I am the first Black woman to sit on the Madison County Commission.
Commissioner Edwards shattered that glass ceiling nearly 6 years ago. Her sister right by her side to swear her in.
It was incredible. It was incredible to experience that together, to have our mother there to witness it on both occasions.
Their mother has seen them break barriers over the years.
When I became the first Black president of the Volunteer Lawyers Program, someone said to me, be the first, but not the last.
But the duo's work doesn't stop there. This November, their mother will get to see their names on the ballot.
I want to be state auditor. When I looked at the job description, it translates well with commissioner.
And Beach is running for District Judge, Place 5.
The district seat that I'm running for is actually countywide, so I will be on everyone's ballot.
It's something Beach tells us honors their mother.
I think that all of this is kind of a ode to her, a tribute to her as well, given that she was also born in Black History Month.
And for Edwards, it's a moment of reflection.
My mother grew up during the time of segregation. She grew up at a time where there were so many barriers, so many roadblocks. Just who she was not accepted. So for her to be able to raise two women who are forces, and for her to be able to vote on us that day, I just imagine this boy being really emotional.
On the road to the ballot, both ladies encountered barriers of their own, including Edwards' path to county commission.
After I won, I just had to sit in and realize that somebody paved the way for me to be here, and that I am making women, and I'm making Black women proud. So if they want to celebrate, then let us celebrate, because it took over 200 years for us to get here.
Beach also knows what it's like to take up space as an attorney.
A Black female is certainly a barrier in this profession, right? Because it is mostly male and white. And I've talked about this before. I tend to stand out a little bit. But that's, as I've aged, as I've grown in the profession, I feel like that's what really makes me unique.
This will be Attorney Beach's first time running for public office, and Commissioner Edwards' third. Mo?
Coming up next, we meet one of the stars from the hit reality TV show Love and Marriage Huntsville, whose reality goes far beyond what hits the big screen. And welcome back, everyone. As we continue our celebration of Black History Month, we're looking beyond the history books to the pioneers laying the groundwork for the future.
From a small town in Alabama to the helm of a multi-million-dollar empire, Melody Shari is proving that Black excellence isn't just a moment in time, it's a lifestyle.
Our very own Logan Alexander Russell sitting down with the media mogul to discuss the journey from the classroom to the boardroom. Here's her story.
In 2004, a young woman from a one red light town arrived in Huntsville with an academic scholarship and a dream. Today, she isn't just a part of Huntsville's landscape. She's an architect of its modern legacy. From the classroom to the boardroom, Melody Shari has proven that Black excellence isn't just a catchphrase, it's a business model. That journey began at Alabama A&M University. For Melody, seeing professors who looked like her, articulate, educated, and pillars of the community changed her trajectory.
I definitely feel like my experience at an HBCU, seeing professors who looked like me, right? Seeing professors who were highly educated, super articulate, and just amazing at what they do, as well as being pillars in the community at the same time. That was beautiful for me to see as a young lady attending A&M.
Melody started her career as a middle school English teacher, but her entrepreneurial spirit couldn't be contained. While teaching, she started a property preservation business, eventually putting over 2,000 students into the industry via her master classes.
What really allowed me to move from the classroom to the boardroom full time was I realized I was turning down work and opportunities because I didn't have enough time.
As a mother of four and a mogul running a multi-million-dollar skincare brand, 7th Avenue Beauty, Melody is often asked how she balances it all. Her answer? She doesn't.
I'm not a big fan of the word balance because I feel like there isn't balance. I believe in prioritizing versus balancing. And once I began to rewire myself to think that way, it took away some of the weight and anxiety that I would put on myself, thinking everything had to be in sync and everything had to be in balance. I said, no, girl, you're going to prioritize.
That prioritization includes her children, who aren't just watching her work, they're working alongside her. From bath bombs to self-care products, the next generation of her legacy is already being written.
I make it a priority, how we talked about priority versus balancing. I make it a priority to instill those things in my children. Well, my children can work and run circles around the average adult.
Melody's life motto is simple. My next move is my best move. As she continues to executive produce television and scale her beauty empire, she remains a living testament to the history being made right here in the Rocket City.
An incredible look at what happens when you refuse to let your now limit your next.
Melody Shari continues to scale her 7th Avenue Beauty brand while mentoring thousands of others to find their own lane in entrepreneurship.
Coming up, we meet a woman who's made it her mission to empower the next generation of Black leaders through financial literacy. And welcome back, everyone. Black history is a legacy still being written.
Yes, it is a cacophony of voices claiming space, communities rising, and power passed forward.
Tonight, Fox 54 is highlighting how empowerment starts with belief and turns into action.
Valentina Chalala introduces us to a North Alabama woman using service and storytelling to lift her community and inspire others.
We create, we achieve, and we empower. If you have that dream, go for it. If there's a space that you want to pursue, go. And I think a lot of times we get in our own head and we think that it's not possible for us, but the fact that you thought about it makes it possible.
That belief, if you can see it, you can pursue it, defines Shalay Morgan, an entrepreneur, content creator, and soldier. Morgan has spent years in the United States Army, deployed 5 times to Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Guantanamo Bay. She has since turned her passion for digital media into a platform to uplift Black voices and connect communities with resources that empower.
I started content creating back in 2015, and at the time, I was into styling and just showing, like I think every other woman, where you want to talk about beauty, style, fashion.
And then the pandemic happened, and I was confused like most people. And I was like, what does this mean? How do I understand it? And so I said, well, let me just turn on my camera and pretty much break this down in a language where people can understand, and it resonated.
Hey guys, it's your girl Shalane. I'm back today with another video.
Within just 1 week, Morgan amassed more than 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, where she provides resources for low-income families and helps guide them down an often complicated path. Everything from tax refunds to SNAP benefits, housing, and Social Security. Her work has positioned her as a leader and advocate within the Black community.
You can look at our ancestors and see what they did and see how the contributions that they made and see what role that you can play, especially in carrying it forward, but also learning yourself, knowing who you are and what you stand for, and that at this point, there's no need to be timid.
For Morgan, that confidence is rooted in her time in the military. She says service taught her how to stay grounded, disciplined, and focused, even when the world is moving fast.
For someone who doesn't have that military background, watch a lot of motivational videos, really journal and write down what you want to do, and just know that there are baby steps that happen. So it's not going to all happen overnight. And little by little, as long as you keep going, I promise you, you get there. It might not be as fast as you want. I mean, I'm 10 years in, but you'll get there.
Morgan says empowerment also starts with recognition, acknowledging the overlooked contributions of Black history and calling them by name.
A lot of times in history, a lot of things were taken or wasn't even pretty much introduced or even known or stated that it was by a Black person. So even just acknowledging that this was by an African American is one way to start. Not only that, having events and showcasing different artists or different realms of Black history, because it's not just sports, it's not just arts. We are in every realm, every genre.
There's no single path to success, no timeline that fits every story, but empowerment begins with belief in your history, your purpose, and your voice.
Shalane Morgan's journey is a reminder that empowerment doesn't come from one moment, but from consistent action.
By using her voice and her platform, she's helping others see what's possible for themselves.
Yes. Well, there was a lot I learned tonight, and we hope you all learned something too to take with you and empower others. We have extended versions of these stories available now on FOX54 Plus. Download on your TV, watch for free.
And make sure you tune in to Fox 54 News at 5:30 and 9 for more Black History Month stories throughout the month of February. We thank you for watching.
Have a great night.